Most people give up on lucid dreaming after just a few nights, but what most of them don't realize is they might be stopping one night away from success. In this video, I'll be showing you exactly everything that happened on my first 30 days of lucid dreaming that I saved in my dream journal. I'm going to explain exactly the methods I used, the fast progress you'll notice while practicing it, and even some strong signs you're building momentum and that your next night might be the one. Plus, some important barriers you'll break through. These 30 days were honestly incredible and absolutely worth it. So, let's get started. It all started when I came across a YouTube short about lucid dreaming. I had heard about it in the past, but I probably thought it wasn't real or that it was impossible to practice. This time, something sparked in me. I realized this was something special. I began watching videos about it. One of the first things I had to do was write down my dreams, and I decided to start right from the first night. I also began noting the usual topics of my dreams and any weird things that happened in them. After my first night of sleep, I only remembered a small moment of one dream and some fragments from others. On day 2, I started doing reality checks during the day, about 10 to 15 times. Whenever I remembered, I'd look at my hands, try to push my finger through my palm, and block my nose. I was also watching a lot of lucid dreaming content, especially during the first 7 days. I began writing my dreams into ChatGPT as a way to focus more on dream recall and have them analyzed. Though I could barely remember anything at first, I still wrote down every detail I could. On day 3, I decided to try wake back to bed for the first time and planned to do it every 2 days. I set an alarm for 6 hours after going to bed and stayed awake for 30 minutes, which I quickly realized was too long, as I'm already a very alert person who struggles to sleep quickly. I also began trying mild by setting an intention to become lucid that night. By day 3, there was a clear improvement in dream recall. I remembered 2 dreams well, fragments of 2 others, and knew I had another dream I couldn't quite recall. On day 4, I really felt that I was progressing. I managed to recall 4 to 5 dreams in a single night using only mild. I remembered at least one scene from each dream, and for some, more than 2. On day 5, I added a technique where I played recordings during sleep, reminding me that I was dreaming. I had used this method for a long time and still use it sometimes now because of how effective and easy it is. I even made a video about it if you want to check it out later. On both days, 5 and 6, while my dream recall maintained strong, nothing particularly exciting happened. However, on day 6, I began separating each dream and describing them individually rather than writing down random fragments. This was the day I got my first surprise, a bit sooner than expected. On my 3rd dream of the night, I had my first lucid dream. Well, not quite. That's when I learned about something most people don't know: false lucid dreams. They're very common at the beginning and sometimes hard to distinguish from real lucid dreams. However, right after waking up, I knew it wasn't real. I'd been in the garden of my house, sitting at a table that doesn't exist. The house itself wasn't there, and the garden was 3 times bigger than usual. Far away, I saw a group of people I knew dancing. Once I saw them, I realized I was dreaming. I started levitating around the garden, then landed on a neighbor's balcony. When I jumped down, I hit my head and woke up. I went to tell my brother that I had a lucid dream, but when I went downstairs to the living room, I noticed part of my house had turned into a supermarket. I was still dreaming. I'd had a false awakening where you think you've woken up but you're still in the dream. I didn't realize it at the time and continued dreaming until it ended. So how did I know it was a false lucid dream, and what does that even mean? It means I wasn't actually in control. I didn't truly realize I was dreaming. Every time you do realize it, especially in the beginning, you don't just continue the dream as if nothing happened. Particularly during the final stage of REM sleep, when most lucid dreams occur. You feel a wave of awareness. Your subconscious suddenly flips on, making you fully aware inside the dream, like real life. Another way to tell is how it feels. In that dream, my levitation felt off and unrealistic, which doesn't happen in real lucid dreams, where everything feels vivid and real. Still, these are important. They're the first barrier to break. When you start having false lucid dreams, your mind is finally showing it's thinking about it. It means you're close to your first real lucid dream, just like I was. As I said, false lucid dreams are usually a sign that you're getting close. I just didn't realize how close. In my 4th and final dream that night, I was in a sort of water park. After spending a long time in the dream, something finally happened. I saw a strange opening in some bushes, where I could see the wing of a plane, as if the whole park was a plane. I stopped and said, "You are dreaming." The moment I said it, I thought, this is a dream, and suddenly the wave hit me hard. Everything became louder, more chaotic, and it felt like the plane was flying and about to land. People were rushing around me and sparks of light were flying in my direction. Suddenly, I woke up to the recording playing. I guess I hadn't figured out the right volume yet. It was super loud. The reason I got lucid was because of the recording. When it said, "You are dreaming," I heard it in the dream and repeated it, which made me realize I was dreaming. I still remember how happy I felt. It was the first time I had ever experienced something like that. Even though I didn't control anything and it only lasted like 10 seconds, it was absolutely crazy. I hadn't done wake back to bed, but I had woken up in the middle of the night, which had a similar effect. From days 9 to 11, I continued using wake back to bed and the recording, but nothing particularly special happened. My dream recall, however, was better than ever. I was writing down around 4 dreams per night, with multiple scenes in each. On day 12, I decided to try Wild, a technique where you enter a dream already lucid. I didn't succeed, but that night, I recalled more dream details than ever. From days 12 to 17, I hit a plateau, which is normal. During those days, I also had trouble finding the right recording volume. Wild wasn't working for me, so I dropped it for the rest of the 30 days. I kept doing wake back to bed every 2 days and continued using the recording every night. I stopped writing my dreams into ChatGPT on day 14. On day 18, I finally started building up momentum again, this time much stronger. During my second dream, I had a powerful realization. I was fighting a kind of slime monster that I couldn't defeat. I suddenly realized it wasn't real. I was tired of trying to fight and accepted that I could just surrender. Even though I didn't become lucid, I knew it wasn't real, which was still a huge mental shift. On day 19, things improved even more. Out of the 4 dreams I had, all 4 had something special. In the first one, I was watching a lucid dreaming video inside the dream. I was probably this close to becoming lucid. If the video had reminded me to do a reality check, it would have worked. In the second dream, I was in a war with guns and powers from a game I used to play as a kid called Respawnables. I was fighting Liver King, and I knew it wasn't real. I wasn't even scared of dying. In the third dream, I was in a strange alternate version of my house. I kept switching between trying to sleep in 2 different beds, one inside and one outside on a balcony. The fourth dream was the most important. I was in a sort of hotel with my parents and the father of a friend. A friend of my parents, who was actually the actress Anne Hathaway, was greeting us. When it was my turn, she told me to kiss her on the mouth. She was pretty, but I felt embarrassed because my parents and my friend's dad were there. Later in the dream, I looked back and thought, I should have kissed her. It was a dream, so it was fine. Even while saying it was a dream, I didn't realize I was still in one. On day 20, in my third dream, I was with a random woman and a friend of mine, filming a lucid dreaming video in a bedroom. The fourth dream that night was another false awakening. My parents told me to get up, and we went to some kind of sleep therapy center. On day 21, I might have become slightly lucid. In the second dream, right at the end, I left a store with my friends and saw a paper with a mantra saying something like, "Once I fall asleep, I'll remember this mantra." Feeling confused, I went back inside, leaving my friends, like I was shifting the plot. Inside, a guy said something like, "This mantra is really good. I'm even feeling more lucid." As soon as he said that, the world got brighter and more vivid, with glowing circles behind him. I'm not sure if that happened because he said he was feeling lucid, or because I was becoming aware, even though I don't remember fully realizing it. On day 22, I had another false awakening where a friend of mine was screaming in the middle of the night. On day 23, I went to a concert and went to bed 5 hours later than usual, so I didn't remember anything. On day 24, I left for vacation early in the morning and didn't sleep long enough to enter REM. But day 25 was absolutely crazy. Even though I barely did any reality checks or thought about lucid dreaming that day, the night completely surprised me. In my second dream, right at the end, I became lucid again. I realized I was dreaming and tried to stay in it, but unfortunately I couldn't. Then, in my third dream, I had a false awakening mixed with a false lucid dream mixed with a nightmare. Honestly, it was wild. I was sleeping next to a friend of mine, and we started dreaming together. It turned into a nightmare in a dark, abandoned underground place, and I suddenly became lucid. The world started fading, and then I woke up. But I was still dreaming. While still lying in bed inside the dream, I tried to re-enter the dream by thinking about it, and it worked. I knew I was dreaming, but I didn't remember to control anything. After a bit of time, I woke up again and saw a dark, super scary human figure right next to my bed, with a glowing, malevolent smile and fully white eyes. The fourth dream that night was also a false lucid dream, but it felt much more realistic than the first one on day 7. I was in my house and suddenly became lucid, but this time without any wave of awareness. I didn't believe it at first, so I said something like, if I'm really dreaming, then I want some inflatables to spawn right in front of me. And right in the room ahead, I saw colorful inflatables growing, visible through the glass door. Then I decided to go to my room. I stepped onto the balcony and said, finally, I'm going to fly. I slowly floated a few meters into the air before waking up. That night made me incredibly happy. I still remember writing in my dream journal how excited I was to go from just one lucid dream to a second one and 2 false lucid dreams, all in a single night. And the day after didn't stop. On day 26, 26, I had my third and fourth lucid moments, though neither turned into a fully stable lucid dream. In the second dream, I was in a supermarket full of people when suddenly the wave struck me. I realized I was dreaming. I'm not even sure why, especially since I wasn't using my audio recordings during this vacation. I tried everything to stabilize it, but probably too late. When the wave hits and you realize you're dreaming, you have to act immediately if you want to stay inside. Even though I did everything, rubbed my hands, spun around and yelled for clarity and to stay in the dream, it was too late. It all faded away. Luckily, I got another chance in the next dream. In the third one, I was near my old primary school at night, when suddenly I became lucid again. This time, I reacted faster and managed to stabilize the dream, and it was in that moment that I realized how unlucky I am. There was someone talking in my actual room, loud enough that I could hear their voice inside the dream. Because of that, I lost focus. The dream destabilized again, and I woke up. I remember feeling frustrated, but at the same time happy, because even though I was so close to finally having my first stable lucid dream, something completely out of my control got in the way. But at least, I was still making insane progress, and it felt like the momentum was only getting stronger. Then, on day 27, I didn't remember any dreams. It's important to say that days like this are totally normal. Even though I felt frustrated at the time, this kind of pause is usually a sign that your brain is adapting, like upgrading to a new level. And on day 28, I had another lucid dream during my fourth dream of the night. I was at the high school I used to go to and suddenly became lucid, probably because the school looked very strange and unrealistic. This time, I didn't try too hard to stabilize the dream. Maybe because I was tired from going to bed late. I just focused on staying inside it for as long as I could. On day 29, I had another false awakening, but I didn't remember it well. On day 30, the final day, I just had regular dreams, finishing here the first 30 days of my lucid dreaming journey. Now, even though these 30 days have been totally worth it for me, and honestly, one of the craziest and most unique experiences of my life, I understand if most people might think the results weren't enough for all the effort. Even I thought I'd have my first stable lucid dream within those first 30 days. If I just focused more on learning how to stabilize my dreams right as I got lucid, then I could have had multiple lucid dreams instead of realizing I'm dreaming and waking up. But I didn't give up, and honestly, that turned out to be the best decision I ever made. If you think that by this point I should have quit, here's something you need to know. Just 4 days later, on day 34, I had my first stable lucid dream. I was able to control multiple things, and I felt something I'd never felt before, not even close. To this day, I keep thinking about how many people give up on lucid dreaming when they might be one night away from discovering why they shouldn't. Because trust me, once you have that first long, stable, vivid lucid dream, you won't believe that something so powerful is possible for us humans to experience. With that said, I think you'll love how the rest of my journey unfolded. If you want to know how it continued, like my first 100 days of lucid dreaming, drop a comment down below. I really believe you should give lucid dreaming a try. And if you want some guidance on your own journey, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.